I got a rash in my genital area.
What?
Welcome to another episode of the Entertaining Stupid Podcast. It's Maddie B. With me today is...
Christian.
I'm Sylvan.
Real.
Damn.
Fellas, it's been like 3 fucking months since we've all been together.
I know.
Nice to see you guys. How's everything going with everyone?
Good. Dan's far uglier than I remember.
See, that's your imagination. I've always been that ugly. You just have nothing to reference me to now.
See, every time I think of him, it's this shining Adonis in the skies.
Yeah, he says that until I plow him Saturday night.
Whoa!
Starting off with a
That's
hot
tonight.
take right there.
That's what happens. If someone comes at you, you go 200% and give it back to them.
I better
That's
start
how you
waxing
fight.
here.
Fire with fire. That's how you put out forest fires, I'm pretty sure.
More fire.
Gasoline,
No,
napalm.
With a stronger fire to attack that one.
Yeah. And then they fight in a very cinematography. Cinematic, right? I'm like, cinematography does not fit there. Cinematic battle, then it's really cool.
The
Let's get on a real subject.
The
though, 'cause this is some
cinematography.
bullshit.
Cinematography.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's not a real word, is it?
No.
Well, I was combining cinnamon topography.
That's like that's like the
That's
way
like
out of the land.
yeah.
Topography.
Sick, killing it.
I thought topography
Bring
was
us
to do
back,
elevation.
Matt.
I
Yeah,
got
well,
lost
land-
after the
land-
first 5
Okay,
words Dan
let's
said.
get back into like actual conversation.
Yeah. So, I guess, over the past, 5 weeks, everyone's been listening to us with my buddy and me, right? So I just thought it'd be maybe a topic to talk about. What you guys thought of everyone's...
Well, should we
Me
just
and
go
my
like
buddy?
one at a time and
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
go
it?
yeah. So, let's just go everyone's episodes and what they thought of it, bring input in, and then we'll talk about more about the podcast going forward. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We've, had a lot of more hits than usual lately with me and my buddy's segments, so they've been really well.
digits now.
Gotten some great feedback from a lot of people, too, so we really appreciate everyone listening, and thank you. So let's get started. So, Christian, what do you think of the me and my buddy segment?
Oh shit! You gotta start off with me.
Yep.
Pressure.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's a good insight because in these conversations, when there's 5 of us here,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get
Shit gets
too-
wild pretty
Yeah,
fast.
Yes.
Yep.
It took us like fucking 10 minutes to get an intro proper.
And that even on that was a shoddy intro. Cinematography.
10 minutes to get an intro done, and then 30 seconds to just devolve back into just stupid.
That's
Yeah.
well, our name fits. Continue.
Yeah. I think the first one I listened to was Ray's the first one that came out.
Yeah.
First one.
First one that came out.
Crush
It was good. It just gives you an insight into who someone is, I guess, and the way they think.
A little bit into them, but like on one specific topic.
Yeah.
Which Jason was really good to pick a good topic for each person.
Yours was yours goals?
No,
it
his
was like
his
happiness?
was finding happiness in safe space.
Oh right, yeah.
My safe space. So I brought a lot of pillows to Jason's place. I built a little bunkhouse.
Yeah.
You were half cut. That's your safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because you came here and did it, right? Yeah. Yeah. From what I remember, it was just kind of just an insight into some stuff you wouldn't usually talk about.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, it's kind of interesting having someone else's insight about, having those goals, financially, and hitting those goals and being like, that's what makes you happy, and it's your safe space. I thought that was really interesting because mine is completely different, where I just blow my money, and I know I need to start saving, right? So that's I'm trying to, create small goals myself for that too, because obviously I want to get my own place in the future, and I got to start somewhere, right? So it was very insightful having that. And just knowing that, you opened up a bit too, what I thought was a little interesting, when talking about relationships and stuff like that. You don't hear much of that, but you opened up about it, So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I was curious to hear that part.
Yeah.
well, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't really come up that much in normal conversations. And usually when it's just, all of us sitting here talking, it's like, I'm not going to fucking pour my heart out here.
Unless
No,
someone's like,
no,
"Hey,
for
so Ray, getting your dick wet or what?"
Slamming that puss?
The puce, am I pronouncing
Yeah.
it right?
Sorry to Dan's mom for listening to that part of the podcast.
We need to keep it PG. Because if my family ever hears, I want them
Yeah.
to know that I'm a slightly respectable human being.
Exactly.
So you want to lie? is
Oh
what
yeah,
you're
no,
saying.
no. My parents have started going through a few.
Oh,
podcasts, and I'm sitting there
no.
like, shit. Like, hey, I'm their kid. I'm the one that has to worry about it. You're all good.
I feel embarrassed by proxy.
Just come over, like meet your family for whatever reason. Like, oh, you're the one who can't masturbate. Sam.
But
I remember you.
well, you know
I'm
what?
like, oh,
Yeah, you're that one. Well, the thing that was funny is that like right even after my parents they're like no, we thought it was nice. You know, we didn't know you used the swear or the F word so much. I'm like,
Did they listen
I'm
to
like,
my
"There's no
episode?
comment." And I just said to them like, yeah, I'm like, you know, the guys get together.
It'd be funny, but it's like, and you should be proud.
Well, yeah, I just said I'm
To
like,
not
you know, what? I
use it
speak
around
my
them.
mind. No, I remember that. My immediate thought is I'm like, oh no.
Don't tell
Like,
grandma.
what else have I said on this? Oh god. Yeah, it's always bad.
Well, didn't we have a whole episode of Dan's parents or Matt's parents shouldn't listen to this?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was the title of the episode.
Yeah.
I don't
Don't
remember
listen
what
to
we were
this.
talking about.
Oh,
Oh,
It
just
was
like
something
your
stupid. Or
it's
like,
almost a year ago.
Matt
so
slamming that puss.
yeah, pretty much.
I don't think that was no.
no.
No, that was when he was
Matt
that was
taking
when
that
he
D.
was taking the back entrance.
Oh, that was all the drugs and hookers, wasn't it?
Well, mainly male, but yes.
You know, guys, like I thought I could tell you that in confidence. Thanks for sharing it with everyone.
The one thing I want to know though, in all your years of being a bit of a promiscuous night walker, why did I never get a call? Why did I never get a call,
All right,
Maddie?
you got
It's
friend
just
zone.
Oh,
simply not
God.
true, guys.
Okay, continue.
You point at me.
You can't just go and say, "Hey, continue what your thoughts are." Right?
Yeah,
now.
go back
go
to what
way
you
off
said
topic.
last time. We gotta bring it.
You know, I'm just really
I think-
glad
I
to
think-
have you
I
guys
think
here.
I was the one talking originally, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Come on, but he was
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
on, like we were getting on his conversation, like we were talking about his podcast.
We should
first.
focus on one at a time podcast.
That,
now.
that's what I'm saying.
So-
Sorry, that's why I said continue. Like continue on his podcast.
Start with me
That's
and
what-
only focus
Like
on
the only
me.
reason
For
I
the
say
moment.
Then
this,
don't
like
stop focusing on me. I'm reveling in it.
the only reason I'm saying like to go maybe clockwise is because we always talk over each other like insanely all the time. So that's why I was just trying to bring it in. Just try something different. Yeah. So let's just go into Christian's then.
He was next in line.
So I'll bring it up. So Christian's was second, and his was the importance of self-confidence. So that was the topic of the podcast. What did you guys think of that episode? Did you guys take anything out of it? Like, what'd you guys think?
Definitely good. Really good points that you made. Fuck, I'm trying to think. There's something that really resonated with me on that one.
It's hard when you listen to something once because you only take in about like a certain fraction of percentage of like what.
The second he said that, I'm like, okay, I remember snippets, but it was a while back. I'm like,
But then maybe it's just about self-confidence in general and the importance of it, right? So like,
And I remember you mentioned kind of like building it up bit by bit. Sorry.
yeah, no, that's
Where it's just like step by step, start with something small, work your way bigger, and find your something that's comfortable to begin with, and kind of work your way from there. Really good stuff. Which is
Thanks.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the thing I took out of it is like, it's almost like Rome is not built in a day. You gotta keep trying even if you fail. That's gonna help.
Wait,
you
was
build
that was a
your
bit of
confidence.
yours too? You were kind of saying that.
I think everyone touched on
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, no. I think overall, when you take all the podcasts in general, they all have similar meanings in their own ways, and everyone's got different experiences. That I think that you could say the vast majority of everyone in life goes through, right? And it just creates a lot more of a humanity look at it, where everyone's like, "Oh, I'm not alone. I go through these kind of struggles, or maybe I need that kind of boost in self-confidence." And how do I do this? Everyone's got their own different way of doing it, but I just thought it was really interesting having 5 different opinions on it in 5 different episodes. So I thought it was really cool that way.
That could have been almost interesting. Do the same questions with the 5 different people.
that actually could be a future one too.
Because like what I found interesting, like listening to all of them, was it was 5 different people with 5 generally different topics, but we all touched on that success isn't something you just get like immediately. It's like you build to it. You start small and you build on that and build on and build on that on like every aspect of your life. Like we all touched on that.
And like I said, like in my podcast, like I said, like nothing comes to me naturally. Like I'm not one of those guys. Like I mentioned as an example, math. I'm not very good at math. I'd have to do all my homework to be good at math. Where some people are just God-given talents of being 90 students with math, right? So I think that's probably everyone here in this room. We all have to build up to something, which I think is pretty cool. So it's something we all got in common too. So
How's the dating scene going right now?
Well, I ended thing with the girl yesterday.
Oh, ended.
Yeah, ended thing. Well, I wasn't like I was chilling with her for like less than a month
Oh yeah.
or so. It's
Well,
just different viewpoints. I think I was talking about that too. Like you find out what you want.
yeah,
As you go from person to person, you kind of figure.
Yeah.
It's almost like a stepping stone. Like you went for one for this, and then all of a sudden you realize that's not important.
Yeah, I tried though, like, cause I should have listened to my intuition and my Jiminy Cricket kind of conscience on that one, but I tried to, cause we just had 2 different viewpoints of the world, and I thought that maybe I would learn something from her, maybe like a different perspective.
Yep.
But the divide was just too great, and I was like, "Okay, that's something that I can't." And she could never get any of my humor. I sent her an Eric Andre clip, and I'm like, "Did you think it was funny?" She's like, "No."
Oh
And I was
god.
like,
Yeah. Red flag. Red flag. You gotta find someone who's on the exact same, like, well, I know what you mean, though. You're trying to find someone, it's like, well, I want to enlighten myself. I want to see if I can open my view of the world. But unfortunately, if it's also someone who's so opposite to you, it's like, I can't even get on the same page as you. Yeah. It's like, now we're just having odds.
Yeah, and it was interesting because, like, when we were talking yesterday of, like, ending things, I was talking about how, like, my sense of humor is so strange and so weird that I feel like no girl can ever resonate with that. And she was like, well, it seems like you've already made that decision no matter what. So whoever you come across is not going to be able to get it. You've already decided that. And I'm like, that's probably fair, but I like some fucked up shit.
But you'll find someone with dark
like
humor.
the Woody video I got you to see.
Yeah.
I texted Dan a couple weeks ago to send me the link to that Woody video so I could show my assistant at work. Like, if I could show a girl that and she laughs her ass off, I'm putting a ring on that. Like, she'd be like, but I have a dick. No. I'm putting a ring on that.
I don't necessarily think you have a weird sense of humor because I think it's a lot of our sense of humor here.
True.
Like, it's pretty.
We share, yeah.
We all share the same thing. You know, it's just like her views were a little more. I guess you could say like adult, like more mature, I guess, and more serious views. Where you're more of a lighthearted guy, and you know you like to enjoy yourself and have fun. That like just based on the conversations you've had with me about it. So. I think you did the right thing. You know, why would you keep trying to do something and pretend to be someone you're not? And just be yourself and, you know, find that person who's right for you, who's going to enjoy those things like you do.
And the crazy thing is, she was super affectionate towards me, and I just couldn't receive it. I was so closed off emotionally from her that just because I knew deep down I wasn't right.
That's why. You were preemptively like, I'm done.
And it's trial and error. Like,
but hey, man, it was only a month. You didn't waste her time long term, your time long term.
Neither one got really hurt.
No one's gonna get really hurt. So I think you did the right thing.
You told her, I'm not meeting you in parking lots anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know.
There's other things, but I'm not gonna get into it.
That's when you organize. You say we got to meet at Tim Hortons.
Oh no! Why?
Public place?
No, I should just tell the story. It's fucking
Don't make
hilarious.
it
Okay, yeah,
in the public
Okay.
Tristan's got a good story about
Okay,
this.
so I live with my roommate, right? And we both agreed that we're not going to bring other people into the house, right? So we were just in my garage drinking a beer. Like, she was sitting this like 6 feet away. I was sitting 6 feet away. And then it just got too much. We had to fuck.
You reached the ultimatum. You're just like, it's gonna happen.
No, yeah.
I looked at her. She looked at me.
So I was like, you know, I can just close this garage, right? So I closed the garage, and we fuck in my car. Great. The next time she comes over, I didn't want to fuck in my car because it's weird. But in my garage, in the condo, if you go at the back of the garage, there's this room that's like carpeted. It looks like a bedroom. We call it the weird room. And so I'm like, you know, I got a moving mat back there. I can just, you know, lay it out, get a pillow from upstairs. Right? So we're doing a thing. We're not like doing it yet, right? And she's on top of me, and all of a sudden the door opens, and my foot so fast shut that door and went, Brett! And he was like, oh my God, sorry. And then we stopped because we're both embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to kill me because I'm not supposed to be touching anybody because I go into the house and whatnot. Like, he's going to kill me, right? 2 seconds later, there's a buzz on my phone. I'm like, oh God, he's texting me. He's so mad. I look and it's the group chat with my friends. And he's like, you will not believe what just happened. Sagan's banging a girl in the weird room. Oh my God. I was just trying to put the paddles away from my canoe that I just bought. And this girl's on top of him. And I was just, she's like, was that him? I'm like, yeah, he said he's fine. And then she leaves. And I go upstairs. And I see Brett. And I'm like, hey, man. He's like, 2 things. Right? He's a pretty serious guy, right? He's like, 2 things. He's like, first of all, thank you for respecting the house. All right. Oh, okay. 2, you're an animal.
You're an animal.
Oh, that's a good one.
So that's my story.
I just love that part. We just had to fuck.
Hey, man, there goes the self-confidence right there, you know? The self-confidence it has to happen.
That was your gut. That was your gut saying that.
Yeah, well, that was also lust too.
Oh, no,
A little further south in the gut, but you know.
You gotta feel it out.
Yeah, so that part, like the sex was good and stuff like that, but
coming to me.
but just like, but then the emotional part, the affectionate part, I just like couldn't do,
No.
and it was
Just weren't in the right
Because
mindset.
you were
Yeah.
checked out.
It was weird. I told her, I said, I've never had this before where, I mean, I haven't had like a real long-term relationship in like almost 5 or 6 years. And I feel like I've almost forgotten how to receive genuine love. Because she was actually giving me genuine affection. But every other girl was kind of just like, nah, you were using each other in some form. Or, you know, some kind of capacity.
So you're essentially having more, sorry to, and I cut you off.
I just think like for everyone, like with affection, like it's tough because like sometimes you feel like an asshole even if someone wants to cuddle and you're like, I don't feel like cuddling today and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't love them or care for them, but you're just not feeling it in the moment, right? So
True. But in his case,
it's a little different, obviously, right? But I just think that you probably already knew from the start, and you're like, like, you know what, you're kind of hoping that things can change, and it just never happens. So then you're like, I think I'm done, right?
I gave it the old college try.
You gotta try. You gotta give it a try, like, because you don't know if things could change in that month where you're like, well, I didn't know that side of her that I originally thought wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it can change things.
And like she's a great girl and stuff, but she's a bit of a snowflake, like that millennial snowflake kind of thing. And that's very hard.
Gonna work.
That's hard for me because my humor is so offensive. Like I love the most racist shit in terms of like humor. And if someone can't understand that, then that's kind of tough.
She's like, you're a fucking white male person.
Her name is Karen. Is what you're trying to tell us.
Yeah, you know.
Maybe not
Exactly.
manager
No,
Karen.
we'll
Maybe
give
not
her
like.
some
Let me see your
Karen's
manager.
different.
Karen,
You're right.
Karen's older. Becky is more of the.
Is that Becky? Is that what we're going with?
That's what the internet says.
Okay,
Becky's
Becky.
the younger
Oh,
Karen.
yeah, we won't hate on her. She
Don't
seems like she
don't
was
get
a
me
good
wrong.
girl.
No. I'm not hitting on her at all. She's a great girl
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but just different wavelengths, and
Yeah.
that's what you find out. You just try to find someone on your wavelength.
Yes, we're moving on.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I said thanks. We need a moderator.
Yeah, if you hear that in the background, that's Jason. Thank you. Okay. So mine was the third episode. So mine was about self-motivation. Obviously, it had a lot to do with working out and all that stuff. What do you guys think about self-motivation? What motivates you and gets you guys going?
Movies.
Hell yeah, man.
Question though, do we want to talk about self-motivation, or do we want to first talk about your podcast
Yeah.
and then go from there? Because
Whatever you want.
you don't get to gloss over it, Maddie.
Okay, go over my podcast first, and then let's go into
Yeah. Okay.
self-motivation.
First off, I didn't watch it. No, I'm
Wait,
kidding. I'm
there's
kidding.
no video
I'm
portion,
kidding.
so it's all
I'm
good.
kidding. I
can't
did.
watch
I did.
Mine
No,
was also the shortest. I might remember.
it worked. No, I watched them. I watched like I'm going through each one of them at work.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's whether or not work was busy is how much I retained from each one. But I still enjoyed them. But no, I remember for yours, I think the biggest one is that you came to a point in your life where you decided because I remember you talked about that gentleman with the heart attack, right? And then you discussed like this was something that for you was an eye-opening moment. You're like, shit, that's me to an extent, right? Like a few years apart, but your weight was very similar and everything like that. And I think that the thing about that was kind of interesting is that I feel a lot of people have these wake-up calls, right? A lot of people do. I don't like we go through it. You're gonna have something like, oh shit, I can't reach my toes, or I can't put on the belt, or whatever, little stuff. But that was a big one. That it was a breaking point. You said I want to change because I'm gonna die, or essentially you really. And the thing is, I think about that, and sorry, not to be grim, but that's the truth of it, right?
True.
And I think the thing that's awesome about it is that you spoke about you saw yourself and you said, I don't want to be that person, but you took the courage, and I think this is the part that a lot of people don't. They see the problem and they don't take the courage to go, I can change that, or I'm going to try. They just go,
being willfully blind.
yeah, and thank you. That's really well put. And exactly, they're being they're ignorant to it because they're like, no, like I can't change it. It's impossible. So I might as well just keep doing me. And it's like, well, that's just defeatist. And anyway, so I thought the thing about yours, I truly enjoyed, and I think other people have met that breaking point too. But I think that it's nice that you took that moment, you took the courage from that moment, and you took a step up rather than being blind. Be like, well, I can't do anything about it. It's too hard.
Well, I think the other thing that I didn't mention about it in the podcast, but you have to start being comfortable with being uncomfortable and pushing yourself to do stuff that you would never do before.
You mentioned, like, as you're talking about you walking, and you said you didn't want to go to the gym originally because you're worried of the way you look.
Oh, I know, but I mean, like, just in general for anything,
yeah,
like
fair
for
enough.
self-motivation, like for you to like say you don't like to swim, but all your buddies are swimming, you want to go swim with them, you go, fuck it, I'm gonna go swim, and then you just go do it. Like you just got to do something that's out of your comfort zone and get used to that, and then it becomes comfort again, right? So, yeah, that's very true. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no
Appreciate
problem.
that. What do you guys think?
For me, it was eye-opening to hear you, like, because I remember you telling me, like, back when you, like, started working out, like, you know, that you read the story about the guy with the heart attack, but I didn't know you were having, like, health problems, like your stomach was hurting and all that stuff.
Yeah,
That
I felt
was-
like
know that either.
shit. Like,
Yeah,
I
'cause,
felt
like-
like shit.
like
Yeah.
you and me basically had, like, the same unhealthy eating habits,
Yeah.
and, like, that it just never occurred to me that, like, this is probably not the greatest thing to be eating until Matt's like lost 100 pounds and I'm like, God, I'm a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, like I felt like I felt like shit, and then like I don't know if I mentioned that part, but I went to Rail's house for New Year's, and I went on his scale, and then I saw myself, and I was like, I'm 20 pounds away from being 300 pounds, so I was like, fuck that. Tomorrow I'm changing, and then I just like I said, like I googled stuff and I went slowly, and I'm kind of back on that track again because like I've gained a little bit of the weight back from when I was in really good shape. Yeah, well,
like no one's gonna blame you.
It's been more than just Corona. Like it's been going for like probably 2 years where I haven't really gone actively, consistently being in, going to the gym and stuff. And then it kind of just hit me like this year. Like I finally feel like the last 3 years, almost like 2017 to probably 2020, they've just been like peaks and valleys, and you kind of feel like you're hitting the valley a lot more than you are at the peak. And then for some reason, something just kind of clicked this year, where it's like, okay, this is actually going up the right trajectory finally, and then everything kind of feels like it's going up. And when you have like maybe you'd have 3 shitty days in the week, now it's only like 1. So like, okay, I can manage myself. I'm kind of self-identifying what I need to do to get better for myself. So I've been kind of just doing that now, and so now I'm like slowly. I know that for me, like before I go to the gym and I go hard for 2 weeks, and then I just fucking stop going.
You
so
burn
now
out.
Like, yeah, I'd burn out. Well, not even burn out, but like I get so mad at myself because I was trying to do what I was doing at my prime, and I'm like trying to compare that to where I was. I'm like, I can't do that right now. So I just kind of started to do the same things I did at the start of my process. So like, I'm just walking I'm walking 4 to 5 times a week now. I've gone biking the last 2 weeks with Christian. I've gone at least once a week biking. So I'm like, hey, I'm starting somewhere. So I've got something to start from. And it's like, okay, this is my foundation. Now I can start to expand from there. So, and my diet's been way better. So I feel way better as a person now than I have in a long time. And then I see it mentally as well. So like getting
You're sharper?
Yeah, way sharper. Way sharper. Yeah,
Well,
I feel way
sense,
more
yeah.
way more happy with myself.
No, it's true. Actually, with exercise, that's actually one of the main factors in trying to prevent any kind of like
Alzheimer's, right?
Alzheimer's, and then as you get older, exercise actually, because your brain is so cardiovascular like linked, like it's linked like heavily on that. So as you get older, it gets worse and worse. But if you work on it, you're obviously pumping more blood to your brain, so it doesn't deteriorate as fast.
But but for you though, essentially now, like before, where you had again, I'm a slave to routines. That's always the thing. So essentially, you had a routine before, and then you tried to jump, and then it's the thing. Like me and you both essentially tried that. We both tried to jump back into our old routine, which is great when you're in it, but when you're not, you come back and you're like, holy fuck, I can't do any of this. Yeah,
it's
shit.
hard.
Like I can't lift my body weight, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh god, I used to be able to do chin ups and stuff. I'm like, oh. Yeah. But then again, like you said, right? You start a routine, and same thing with like you. I walk. And you feel great after. You're like, you know what? Okay, I did something. It's not a lot, but it's more than I do now. Yeah. Right. That's better than anything. You make that routine and then you build on it.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's the short-term goal, right? Like you do the small goals that lead into bigger ones down the road. But you got to start somewhere, and you got to look long picture instead of just like wanting the immediate results. In my opinion. Yeah. Right. Slow and steady. Like I said it in the podcast. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, delayed gratification, essentially.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's cool about what you just said, even, is that you got on the scale and then you said tomorrow I'm changing.
Yeah.
That's really hard because we do not have control like that usually. Yeah. Like you can't tell yourself to do anything.
Like, and I said, like,
you can try.
It's true. You can try. You can say, I gotta stop doing this. But then you keep doing it. It's like the same thing, say, with overeating or anything like that. It's like, I gotta stop eating this, but yet you go eat a whole fucking bag of chips or something like that, right? It's like, well, why'd you do that? You told yourself you're not gonna do it.
That's the willpower part. That's the I'm not gonna do that anymore. And then when you get to that point, we're like, oh, there's that bag of chips, and you have to say no.
It's the lack of a negotiation between you and yourself. Like you have to negotiate that. I feel like you said, make manageable goals where it's like I think you said you used to drink like a bunch of pops during the day, right?
Yeah.
And then you said, okay, well, I'm just gonna stick to one. Or maybe that was
Dan. That was Dan. With
the same kind of thing, but making the negotiation instead of going, I'm just gonna stop drinking pop in general. It's like, hey, I'm gonna slowly kind of wean yourself off, so it's controllable. Turkey.
Yeah,
you're negotiating with yourself.
No, for sure. So like my long-term goal now is like I want to be in better shape and probably lose around 40 to 50 pounds total, because I'm around like 220 right now, and I'd rather get back to 170 where I was. So I'm hoping that like I can finish off 2020 by losing at least 20 pounds, so get to 200 by then, and then I want to be around 180 by the time my sister's wedding next July. So that's kind of my goal, is kind of get there. I think it's realistic when the gyms start opening up right away here and all that stuff.
June? Is it June that they were open?
Yeah,
Phase
June
3 is
8th.
June 8th.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I don't think
I saw
gyms-
Rise Strength Club.
It's June 8th.
Through all gyms.
All gyms, yeah.
Oh wow.
But it's gonna be like half capacity
Yeah,
or whatever.
half capacity.
So
Oh, you know what? I bet. Hold on. I wonder. Can I? I bet you. I hope I get to abuse the healthcare system for that again. Because if you come a lot of places with your card, they let you in. So I hope the gym's like that too. I could be like, sorry,
Yeah.
I get a free.
I guess I have to go in the morning.
oh,
Yeah. So
Or
like,
I could just get you guys a laminated one from the hospital, and that.
Okay. Yeah.
can I use my mom's? Yes, I'm Kathy.
You know, it is just take. Honestly, like people don't really check them that well. You can just take your own picture and glue it over it.
yeah,
they
man.
just see the card and they go, yeah.
Okay. Thanks for all the feedback, boys.
The one thing I was gonna say with yours was I was surprised at how big of a influence Dan had with
Oh,
you.
wait,
in
but
that.
that's what I was saying. Like, I guess I'll make it quick. But it's like it's not just one thing and you change right away. You have like a number of things that you see going on in your life at different points in time, but all in that same kind of time frame. So like let's say like 2 months. Like Dan's already lost 60 pounds. And then you see someone else and then you see that guy have the heart attack on the paper and then you do that scale and then you're like, well, I got all this information saying I should probably change. And then that's how that change happened because that's what motivated me to make those changes is seeing all those things happen. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go on. So the next one was Dan's and I'm just going to say right now, it's not even close. I think he had the best one out of all of us.
100%.
He was incredible the entire podcast. Yeah, honestly.
Thank you.
Like it's heroic for even what you said, and you shared it and opened up everything to everyone. So I thought it was awesome.
Thank
so,
you. I really appreciate that.
guys, we'll go around the table here. You know, what do you guys think of Dan's podcast? How'd it go? And then
If you didn't watch it,
let's
I will
talk
not.
about
I
it.
will not hold a grudge against
No,
you.
I think we all did.
I texted Dan after I
Yeah.
listened to it, and I told him that it was amazing how he could be so objective about it.
Yep.
About the illness and about the condition. How he's conscious of how it works, and he's
Yep.
not a slave to it, and refuses to be a slave to it.
Yep.
Because I think when you're with depression, you lose meaning, and you become nihilistic. But he knows. I think it's in his nature not to be nihilistic, the way he is, personality-wise, and so to struggle through that and to be objective and to go and find that meaning in life to keep going. I think that's kind of what I took away from it.
Oh, for
It was
sure.
good, yeah.
Awesome.
And then the way he came out of the darkness, right? Like how there was once again like steps. Like it was one
I
thing.
see.
after
Also
another,
seeking
right?
help and
Yeah.
going on medication.
I'm encouraged to talk to people about it. Yeah.
That's a big thing. I feel like our society is starting to kind of stigmatize, depression medication a little bit.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I think there's a
Just
bit of a
like-
stigma.
They're doing a lot more focus on like, oh, you just got to eat healthy, exercise.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
possibly.
blah.
Yeah, I think they want to. I don't know. They think there's other solutions to it. Like I think there's varying levels, degrees of depression. I'm not like a psychologist or anything, because sometimes I felt like I was depressed, but I don't think I was ever clinical. Because you said something that I've actually felt before. I remember like just being at my lowest and stuff, and you said you drive by that bridge and just want to run into that. I've actually felt like that before.
Yeah. See, it's like you said, it's right. Everyone can have bouts of depression. It's then there's a sliding scale of severity, right? I remember when I went into the physician, like she even told me, she's like, well, this questionnaire kind of puts you on like a scale. She's like, there's a lot of things and the best way I can come around to like if you're severely depressed, it's that you're depressed but for not any really good reasons. Like there's nothing that recently happened that sets you off. It's more that you're just like that. And there's not, and there's no, there is. Don't be wrong. There's always an underlying stimulus to it. Like you go, there's things I want to change about myself, but there's not like sometimes it's an event. Events do trigger it. That's no doubt because it makes you more vulnerable. But at the same time, there's times where it'll just be, there's no real reason. You'll just go down, and then you'll be down. You'll be like, why am I? And like even for myself, I try to look and like I'm decent now at being able to figure out what did it. And usually I can nail it down to one thing that kind of, and like you guys said, even with the healing process, it's not always one thing. It's a lot of nitpicky things. But no, like everyone, like you said, I truly believe that, you definitely experienced it.
Well, I think that's the best part about it is I think everyone here's had that cycle of that feeling, right? Where it might not be as severe, like Christian said, it might not be clinical, but everyone's experienced something like that where that tough time where they're like trying to dig out and it takes a while to get out of it, right? And you're just in the funk, right? But I think that's what's impressive is that the way you shared it and the way you explained it to everyone. And then your ending I thought was incredible. Like, telling people like, hey, if you're feeling this way, talk to someone, get help, right? Because you're not alone. And that's, I think, it's the beautifulest part. That's a bad word, but it's so beautiful the way you eloquently put it that, I think everyone's got to do that too, right? I thought it was an awesome message.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
What do you guys think?
Like same thing with your podcast. Like I knew Dan had hit a low, but when he was saying like driving past that bridge, just like I'm gonna hit it, it's like even as his friend didn't know he had gotten that low. Like it was just like eye opening to be like, okay, was scary, but it's cool to learn. Like now, how do I take that information that he said? How do I apply that to like maybe other people that I thought I was close to that might be going through something similar? How do I try and look for those signs? Is kind of what I took away from Dan's. Is like, okay, now that Dan is like very open and very understanding about his mental illness, which I think is probably the best thing from these podcasts is just like, well, specifically for Dan's was mental illness. Like just talk about it. Like as soon as talking about your mental illness becomes just a normal thing and no one like is going to judge anyone, no one's going to like care, that's going to be probably the best thing for everyone's mental health. Because like all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm feeling this way, what do you think about this? And everyone's just like, oh yeah, okay, I went through this, I went through that. And that is kind of like, I think the best part of Dan's podcast is just knocking down the stigma of mental health is like something that, you know, is taboo, or like because it makes me uncomfortable for you to say that we shouldn't talk about it. No, like knock that like as uncomfortable as like those talks of mental health make everyone else, imagine how that person with that mental illness feels trying to be like, hey, I need help.
Yep.
That is what I really liked about Dan's podcast.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Ray, what do you think?
The one that really stuck out with me, and just like that phrase that stuck out was the it's okay to fail today, we'll try again tomorrow. And to me it's just like, man, no one ever really says that to you. No one cements that in your mind. It's just like, oh, you failed, yeah, okay, let's try again tomorrow. Just like no one says that. It's you failed and then you're done and that's it, it's over. And it's just like, oh, I can try again, yeah. And applying it even to your life, or just like right now, say I've been trying to bike, so I'm on my exercise bike, and it's like, oh, I did 4 days in a row, this is a new record for me. And then my body was feeling kind of tired, I was feeling kind of meh, so I skipped a day. And then it's just like, normally I'd be in that mindset of, oh, I missed that day, well, I failed, I screwed it up, can't do it anymore. But then now it's just like, after listening to Dan's podcast, it's, oh yeah, I missed that day, I failed one day, well, I can do it tomorrow. We'll go back tomorrow, maybe hit another 3 day, 4 day stretch. Maybe we can do a 5 day stretch. Might fail, whatever. Keep trying again and again.
Yeah, and I think that you kind of, the other, just to add on what you're saying, is that maybe you failed today, but just be better tomorrow. Yeah. You know, like I think that always, you know, the phrase "don't be sorry, be better" is something that resonates with me a lot. You just, you know, you can fuck up, but just be better next time. You know, don't make that mistake, or push yourself to be better. So
yeah, oh yes, you were saying also something about how depressed people will usually make these kind of humorous kind of jokes, like
dark humor,
humor. And it's funny because as soon as you said that, I thought of Anthony Bourdain, because if you I like to still watch reruns of his old, like, you know, he killed himself, right?
Course,
so I'd watch old episodes and he'd look at the camera and go, I hate my life. He'd be like, I just want to kill myself. Like, would say things like that, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's there, right? Like,
yeah,
it's there, but it's just hidden.
Yeah,
well, not even hidden,
but it's hidden in like a comedy routine or something, where you're just like, oh, it's just another joke. Yeah, it's just another joke.
So,
but Jenny, well, thank you for all your kind words.
Yeah.
No, I think the biggest thing is actually, and the thing I liked about it, and especially with like depression, the reason why at least I can be open, right? For example, is like you guys here and like my family. I'm surrounded, and I have taken at least the liberty now to surround myself with people that it either in one way or another I want to emulate something from them, right? So like again, I've done it in a previous podcast. I won't do it again, but I know everyone in the room. I know all my friends. I know exactly. It's not always one thing, right? It's always a myriad of things. But truly, I can always pick one thing from all my friends that I admire. So I surround myself with everyone, and like if I ever have people who are judgmental, or you know, the ones that like you don't want to open up to, they go, oh, you're just sad, get over it. Like those kind of ones immediately I go, I'm like, okay, like that's as much as I'm getting out of you, that's fine. But like for example, like with you guys and like that, I have no problem being open, and now with my family, because everyone's been incredibly supportive. And as much as I can say, oh, it's a personal journey, it is a personal journey, but if you're by yourself or if you don't have support, God knows I couldn't have made it this far. Couldn't even come close. I would have made it not even to step one. So like, and that's why like truly, like for example, like this group and my family, I'm very thankful for everyone here, because right, it's like and everyone here is very open, and they allow me to be open without judgment. right? Like, and even if there, like, I'm not saying there isn't. There probably is judgment, at least in some way, but not in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I have no problem telling you guys, or most people now. Like, I still have a few people, like, I won't name names, but I've had a few like friends even be like, well, you know, like, oh, you're just sad, get over it. Like, genuinely, like, that's the words they use, and immediately I'm like, okay, like, I'm not gonna be mad at you because you don't understand it, and you can't.
Yeah.
And I can't convince you to understand it. I'll just accept that that's the way you view it, and that's the way I view it.
Absolutely.
That's a good way to go, because you have to assume, what is it? Assume ignorance, not malice.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. You try to play, like, you don't want to play devil's advocate on that, or I guess maybe I'm misusing that. But you want to hope that it's out of ignorance, not necessarily. Like, I have. I've ran into a few people who are genuinely judgmental, like, in the sense of, like, what's wrong with you? You're a man. Like, genuine, like, those kind of phrases. I'm like, you know what? That's just, and also that's not even necessarily malice, because that's what they've grown up to know, right? And a lot of us, we've grown up to know, like, certain things, so you pass a bit of judgment. But sorry, I cut you off.
No, you didn't.
Okay, I think it's I assume I do, because I do it a lot. So I just like preemptively say sorry after a lot of times. Be like, oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, just in case.
Well, that's the Canadian in us.
That's a Canadian in us.
I would
Yeah.
say sorry about everything.
Hey?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, and it's not just with like, say, depression or mental illness or all that, but it's like until you've been in a situation either extremely similar or exactly the same to what someone's been through, you don't know. No. You don't know what it's like to be in that spot in that moment. And it's just like, oh, I would have done this and I would have done that. It's like, no, you would have froze up in fear and almost pissed yourself, because that's what people do in that situation.
Well, I think the funny part is, like, it resonates with me with my anxiety. Like, it's pretty similar. It's like the same, like, not the same thing, but there's a lot of similarities.
Depression and anxiety are in the same plane. Like, no, you're right.
Oh man, like, I was like, I can relate with a lot of that stuff, and I have to backtrack too, like, what's bothering me, what's causing this. And normally when you figure out what's causing the problem, like, and then it pops in your head again, like the fear, like, no, dumb,
right?
dumb,
yeah.
and then you finally get that win over it, and you're like, okay, it's finally out of my head. But it can take 2 weeks to get out of your head.
It can, but you know what?
So
kudos to, like, for example, kudos to you and kudos to other people. I think, like, if you take the insight to look back and go, okay, what has actually happened? Then you just so prepare yourself. You're, like you said, every future event, you go, oh, it's no big deal. I've already rationalized this, or I've already figured it out. It's no big deal. Or it is a deal, but I can change it.
Yep. And I try to go back to when we were way younger, man. You'd always go, Matt, I give 0 fucks. So I try to go, like, if I'm making a big deal out of something, like, Matt, give 0 fucks.
Give 0 fucks, yeah. Which is ironically incredibly hard to do.
Yeah. It's
like,
really hard, but like, that's what helps. Like, if you're like, I don't give a fuck, and then it just
let it go. Try
on,
your
right?
best to let it go. But
okay, well, that brings us to the last one here. Sylvan, your topic was work, personal, and social life balance. And that one is
total garbage.
That one's a
Who
great
let
topic
that
too.
asshole get near a mic?
That one's a great topic too, because I think that resonates with a lot of people. I think it's tough. Like, it's so hard to balance everything because you're trying to make everyone, and including yourself, happy. You know, and I that resonates with me every day. Like, I'm like, today I want to do this my own thing, but like, no, I should probably do this for that person. And then, you know, I have enough time to myself already, but I just don't see it. So it's like yin and yang to me, like, where you're trying to have complete balance for the people you love and you care for, give them that time, but also give yourself the time that you need. So I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, like the long and thick of it is you just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it, like, 'cause some people will, like...
So just to add on, like, you're saying it's not perfect, right? It'll
like,
never be
it's
perfect.
never going to be perfect. Like,
100%.
even if you work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, you already, okay, there's my work schedule, done.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find enough time for your immediate family, maybe some extended family that is close enough to you, plus your friend group, in 2 days or even afternoons after work, it's just not enough time.
100%.
So, like, there's a lot of times, like, weekends where it's like, we're going to go do something, and then one friend is like, hey, do you want to do this? Because I'm doing this. Or hypothetically, or let's say, like, we're going golfing, and then one guy's like, hey, you guys want to go for a bike ride? It's like, can't, we're going golfing. Like,
yeah,
kind of just don't have time for that one friend, even though it's like, it's not like you don't like them. It's not, it's just that you just don't have enough time.
100%.
So, like, when do you go, like, okay, well, after we're done golfing, then we can go for a bike ride? Yeah, sure, we'll do that, to pencil you in for later, until all of a sudden your weekend's full. It's like, I had no time for me.
Yeah.
It's like you're never going to be able to go, like, Saturday 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. that is me time. From 2 p.m. to like 10 p.m. that's family time. Then I'll go to bed, and then Sunday, like, it's just not, you can't structure your life like that.
Yeah.
Like you always have to just be kind of fluid, and it's just going to change from week to week.
Absolutely. What do you guys think about it?
You didn't really touch about it like in your podcast and all that, but I do believe the personal and work-life balance is so relevant today with just the amount of, or before COVID, the amount of hours people were working. And just when you hear these stories of people working 2 jobs to get by, or working 12-hour shifts Monday through Friday, and then maybe something on the weekend, it's like, fuck you guys, you can't be working your life away no matter how much, you need the money to pay rent or the things in your life or all these things you have to pay, bills and whatever. Like, it's not worth it. You got to have some enjoyment.
Well, and I think that goes to his overall theme when he was talking about happiness, and you got to do what makes you happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at the end of the day, like, if you work at the dollar store and you get $10 an hour, but you're happy living in this place and you don't need much to make you happy, maybe it's just like you do crafts and stuff like that. You're happy, right? Just make sure that you're happy, and that's what's the most important, right?
Yeah. And then people go, "Oh, you're not making 120 grand as an accountant." You go, "Yeah, but I'm fucking happy," and I go home every day.
And that goes back into your podcast actually, because you're like you were guys talking about comparisons, right? You can't compare to everyone.
You can't compare. You find what's best for you. And even biz or employment falls under that as well.
I was reading a book where they're talking about how general happiness, like in money, is being able to keep the creditors away. Once you can do that, no more amount of money is going to make you any happier.
Yeah, you maybe like you could have like some ease knowing, hey, if something happens, I have an emergency fund. But I know what you mean. No, but I know what you mean. No, but like I get it because you're saying, and it's true. Because like let's say you have $1,000 in the bank in your credit. Yeah, like you said, keep the creditors away. You're not in debt. You got $1,000 in the bank. You still got a job and you have the place.
Yeah, because like in the same book that I was reading, they're saying that people who win the lottery, a year later they're not any happier. Actually, they're probably even more miserable. And it's a damn thing when you got a cocaine addiction.
That's why I said
like the only thing keeping you alive with a cocaine addiction is if you're poor.
Yeah,
that's why I said if I ever win the lottery, like a Lotto Max, it's like 30 mil or 20 mil. I'm giving like money away to my family and my friends so that I can enjoy the experiences with them. So they have enough to go like, hey, let's go on this giant trip together. And like, fuck yeah, I got enough money to go to Greece for 4 weeks or whatever like that. That's why I'd give away money just to have fun with me instead of just being me all by myself doing nothing. So
yeah, the whole thing about having time for yourself though, it's like so important. Like I didn't listen to your podcast yet, but I will.
Well, it still hasn't even
come out. I haven't either. I feel like a jerk, but I haven't.
You guys
yet.
are just supposed to pretend.
I downloaded
no, but
it.
Be honest, Maddie. Be honest.
No, because honestly, like I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, man, even if I do get in a relationship, I don't know if they like live with me. I just want to come home and like make supper and then go read some comic books or something until I have to go to sleep.
Then it's a kicker. You find someone who's compliant or not compliant. That sounds like they're going along with you.
I guess
like,
the point
oh,
is like
Lord.
that me time is very important.
That's what I struggle with, like, because I live with my girlfriend now, and that's the hardest part. Is like, I want to do a lot of me things, but then I gotta try, I gotta get better at it because I'm not perfect or great at it right now because I'm learning to live with someone now. Is that I got to be, just because I want to clean the house doesn't mean that I have to force her to clean the house with me or get her to do the same things right away. Just because, I want to watch a movie doesn't mean she wants to watch a movie. So you got to find a compromise. I'm still learning right now.
Yeah.
Like
and that's all comes back to trying to balance work, social, and
yeah,
personal time. Have you guys established roles?
Well, yeah, I think we're starting to establish rules, and I think it's hard because we moved in right when COVID came, so we were already house stirred and everything like that right away. So it's kind of hard because you're learning to live with each other first off, and then on top of that, you're forced to be at home. So it's not like you can just go tinker, like go for a bike ride or anything like before, or because it was cold out, and you're just learning on the go what to do. So you're giving each other space, which I think is appropriate because you need your own space too. So that's why it was easy for me to go game with you guys because, she'd watch TV and stuff like that. But now I'm trying to integrate, I'm excited for everything to kind of start opening up here because then it's like, okay, Friday can be date night and then this can be this. And we can finally have more time together where we're not forced to be stuck in this thing. We've started going on, walks. Like you said, we do have like things. So I'll do the dishes and all that. She's great at sweeping the floor and cleaning up the bathroom and stuff like that. So we are starting to get roles. We're starting to cook together. We've ordered those HelloFresh kits where they give you meals and you just learn it. It's awesome. Yeah. We've learned a lot of new meals already, and I think it's helping us be healthier too for our diets. So learning on the go, but I think it's going overall pretty good. But it's tough, man, because before I lived with her, I was in Connor's basement, And I would just, every day that I wasn't hanging out with her, I'm just gaming the whole day. I'm like, this is what I want to do. Or I want to go to the gym. I can go fuck off and go do it.
Yeah.
Like,
But
yeah.
when then now you're with the person, it's like, I got to consider what they want to do and what their time is too. So you're working on the go, man.
Yeah, it's tough, especially cleaning the bathroom after one of your dirty dumps.
Well, but like about that though, but it makes sense. Like you're essentially you're trying to be.
I was waiting to
you're
drop that
together.
one. No pun intended.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. You're being together, but you're learning to be individuals together. Because you're both individuals, you both have your own lives and your wants, but you have to work together. Like you said, you have to work to a point where like you have to consider their wants and needs. And I was gonna get back to it with Sills here. I'll admit again, I haven't watched it either because I haven't.
You
yet.
piece of shit.
Whatever. I don't really like you. Anyway, when it comes down,
Jason put it in the Google Drive yesterday for a reason.
yeah, buddy. You think I'm gonna go on?
Oh no, wait, you don't have.
You think I'm gonna go on Google? I'm a Yahoo man. Get out of here. Anyway, no, but
you're on our WhatsApp anyway. You
no,
ditched us.
I'm on WhatsApp again. You guys have invited me back. You have to invite me back now.
Oh,
But
it says
anyway.
you're in there.
Well, no, but I'm in WhatsApp again. Just send
Okay.
another
Oh, okay.
invite because I don't know how anyway. But like with Sills, at least I know him as much as a friend already now, so I know parts about him. But the funny thing is that I always like, and obviously like you already heard it in the previous podcast, but I've always admired your work ethic. Because like regardless, and you may say whatever, yeah, he shakes his head, like he'll do it every time he shakes his head. But regardless, you like out of all of us, really, like as far as like a tough job, I'd say he's up there. Like I'm not saying like you've, and I don't know your position as well or yours. I'm guessing you have a lot of stress, and like me, I've stress too, but not. I feel like for him, no, but hear me out.
Al's whole podcast was it's just chips.
No, I know, but like there's stressors that come.
People coddle my balls
No,
for
I know
me.
it wasn't like it's not life or death, but there are still stressors involved.
Yeah.
And then for Sills, I'm just saying his is one of the harder jobs. I would dictate because like it's physically demanding all day, every day, right? You're constantly you're wear and tear, and like I would give up, and I know myself, I would probably give up because I've tried construction and I couldn't do it. So anyway, so I always appreciate that, but the thing is, I always find it's like to me, I always like because like everyone here knows me, and like if say for example, you said balancing work time with friends and family, and I'll say from a friend, I think you do a very good job with us at least. Oh, shut up! Stop nodding. He's nodding his head right now, and I don't like it. No, but like no, not up and down. He's going the other way. He's disagreeing with me. But regardless, like he makes time. But you make time for your friends, and I'd say a decent good job because I know me, and I'm needy. I know that sometimes I'll be like, hey, we're doing this. I want to do this. And like without a doubt, the first one to respond. No, I kid you not. The first one to respond though is always Sil, and that's always the one going like, yeah, sure, or just sure, one word, or like, yeah, okay.
That's funny. That reminds me. I was listening to the old podcast, one of the old ones, but talking about Animorphs, and they're saying you were up at your cabin, you're playing Diablo 3 on the PS3, and you had a character, and you're like, hey guys, come check out my character.
Yeah,
Nobody wanted to. Like,
No, and I got so mad because he's such a great character. Also, I had a Borderlands one that still didn't want to check. But anyway, but long story short, but getting
that's Dan in a nutshell.
They're like-
Hey, you're coming to my cabin, my rules. You have to do whatever I want.
you're coming to my cabin. We're gonna watch Harry Potter because I want to. So anyway, but that's where I struggle with because
That's so funny.
I'm like, well, I hang out with my friends, but I kind of dictate what my friends do when they hang out with me. And so I was trying to like, and what I got away from Sil though is that like he's essentially taken himself out of his own issues and said like, okay, I'll do this. And I'm not saying you don't want to play with your friends or do whatever, but regardless of what's happening, you'll take it out and you say, yeah, I'll make time for them. You make time for us. You make time to hang out with us. So I think that like as far as your work-life balance, I'd say from outside looking in, you're doing a damn good job. But the thing that's funny, I think about that, like if you look at our friend group, you like Sil owns his own house, right? You're one of the friends that owns an actual house,
Yep.
right? Like what the fuck? None of us adult like that.
Jason does though.
Oh
He
yeah,
owns a
you're right.
condo.
Okay, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean though.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
But he has a house. He has like he's taking care of dogs. He has people living with him, right? So I just think like innately, I'd say that as far as work-life balance, I haven't listened to your thing yet, but I will. I'd say outside looking in, you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it is, man. And I think that, there's just so many interesting things in all these individual podcasts that I think I took out of everyone. And Jason, get your cute little butt over here.
Yeah. Jason's sitting out there.
Sexy sailor, you.
So what did you think of the entire experience getting everything set up? Because you're the one who did all the groundwork for us. So
Yeah.
how was that for you?
You know what? We ran into some difficulties with this whole COVID thing and trying to get us all together. And I thought this would be the perfect time because I all throughout the interviews, you can hear me say I went on a little journey myself. Right, I disappeared for 4 months, and I came back and it's like I went through a whole lot of things that I kind of want to talk to my friends about. And I thought, well, what is the best way to talk to them about it. And I thought, one-on-one, let's get their opinions on certain topics. And just the response that I've been getting from everybody about this, I think it's fantastic, and I want to do more of this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, the next one will be Jason's then. I mean, like the one that we talk about you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I thought that was so interesting because Jason was in every
He's
podcast.
the next one who's on the chopping block. No.
Well, that's the best part, right? Because he was on every podcast.
Question mark.
And he resonated with everything everyone had to say. Like, there was parts where he's like, "Oh, I that happened to me," or this or that.
Yeah.
And that means like if it happened to him, it probably happens to all of us, right? So then other people that are listeners it resonates with them, and they understand, and like, oh, well, I'm not alone, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, it's nice to know-
that's how I'm feeling, right? So
It's camaraderie, and you understand that you're like, I think the idea, anything that happens to you, go, oh, I'm the only one, or I'm messed up or something. But a lot of people do it, like you said.
Yeah.
And also, let's take a quick like moment here. We have to all appreciate the fact that, again, anyone listening, essentially, like the actual production of the podcast is all Jason.
oh yeah,
It's all Jason.
Yep.
And again, like he's the one who originally put it up to us. But I'd like to say, also, it's weird to look back and talk at Jason because he's behind me. So I'm going to say this looking at a wall instead of him. But essentially, well, to Jason, I'd say that I think he did a great job interviewing. Like I know,
Hell yeah,
I'm
he
not sure
did.
what you guys think, but I think you did a good job facilitating. There we go. It's less awkward if I'm trying to, But anyway, I'd say you did a very good job interviewing, and I think all of us can say that good job on the podcast so far, and then we're looking forward to seeing where we're gonna go with it.
Also, good questions. I know I said that probably 5 times in my fucking podcast, so that's good questions. So you had really good questions. You're really prepared for us. So we couldn't have done it without you, and we appreciate it, man. So thanks for all you do.
Okay, no, quickly. Now the next one. Okay, I'm gonna propose the next interview question. It's gonna be about Jason. It's gonna be about the origin of the whole Corona, and I think he was. Jason, what were you doing in the Wuhan district, Jason?
Okay. We're going to leave on this note. Thank you so much for everyone who's listened to our podcasts for the last, the 5 weeks here. We really appreciate it. I'm going to give some special shout outs because I got some feedbacks from all these people. Kaylin, you're awesome. Thank you, Ashley, for listening to the podcast. Thank you, Stefan Ganari. You're a buddy.
Specifically.
We will have you on the podcast.
Living
Same
at
with buddy Kaylin.
Social security number.
Thank you to my family members that I forced it on.
And yeah, thank you for Dan's family members for listening. And another shout out to Jesse Willie Williamson. Willie, thank you for all your feedback. We appreciate it. We hope to have you on the show one of these times too. Thanks so much for listening, and that's the episode.